ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साधवैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूते श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारि नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरवाणी हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांग राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिः नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरव हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो जयन्ताय। So we are discussing the three C's which can help us in growing closer to Krishna. In our last class, we discussed about conditions. Now, conditions are gross. Conditions always create, when conditions can create a favorable wave or an unfavorable wave. They are gross. But the nature of this world is that it is the subtle which rules over the gross. So conditions, the gross does affect us. A gross does affect us. But much more prominent is the effect of the subtle. Just like we said, okay, if we are in water, it will affect us. You know, if we are at in a situation which is not very favorable, it will affect us. We were discussing about a proprietorship in the last class. That in the same building or in the same apartment, there are many different kinds of proprietors. There are human beings who are proprietors, ants, rats, lizards. So many of them are staying. But the human beings are given more facilities, whereas others have to do a hide and seek to have their basic needs of survival fulfilled. So this is conditions. Who is on a high note and who is sidelined? The conditions. So more blatant than this is the subtle chains. And the subtle chains are called as conditioning. Conditioning. Bad habits. So one philosopher, he said, I mean, he said a nice statement. He said that the bad habits are like a very cozy cushion. It's very easy to get in. You can jump in, you'll just go inside. You'll get submerged in it because a lot of cushion in it. But very difficult to get out because you will not get any footing to get out. It's easy to go in, but difficult to get out. Another thinker very rightly puts it out that habits start on a cool note. It starts like cobweb strands. The strands entangling us are like cobweb strands. That's it. But soon from cobweb strand, it turns into a cable, very tight, strong cables, which can completely entangle and choke us. That's how conditionings are. That's how bad habits are. So we will see that, like any other, like any substance which is in a fluid state, which has fluidity, such a substance, uh, so such a substance has the tendency to flow, and therefore such a substance needs some directions which are given by the container. What direction to flow, what shape to take. If there are no directions, it will just flow anywhere. So similarly, we see that our chetana or our consciousness is fluid. It is fluid. And it is the mind which engraves the circuitry or the channels of how the consciousness should flow. So the mind is like the container which can completely absorb the consciousness, and the mind is having various channels which are called as sanskaras or vrittis. They are dug. They are like trenches which are dug uh, on land. And now, as soon as water comes, it will go in the in the trenches which are already dug. So this is called as vritti or sanskara, and the mind stores the entire architecture of it. So the mind presents in this way a set of various trenches. The mind presents a set of various trenches which actually completely sucks in the entire flow of consciousness and makes or forces the consciousness to flow into those trajectories. That's why in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking, Arjuna is telling Lord Krishna that, oh Lord, this lust is such a powerful enemy that even if one does not want to perform sinful activities, one is forced or dragged to perform sinful activities. Why is it so? So this starts from 336, third chapter, 36 verse onwards, 36 to 42. So Arjuna is asking this question, Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati porushana. And he says what? Baladeva nimojitaha. Very powerful. It's formidable. It's very difficult to oppose, very difficult to say no. That's how the force towards the drive towards sinful activities is. So yes, Lord Krishna explained that is lust. Our our senses, our mind, our intelligence, everywhere lust is situated. Everywhere is the infection is there, and therefore the Lord explains that to get rid of this infection, if we cultivate knowledge, we can get then we will know. Then the knowledge, the right knowledge, transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge can cut, can actually fill up or destroy, demolish the wrong tracks, the wrong new trenches which take towards positivity. And we can maintain this knowledge through detachment. So knowledge ignites, knowledge paves the way, and detachment solidifies it. Detachment from material affairs, not detachment from Krishna. Detachment from material energy uh, may not be material affairs, because affairs one may be engaged in, duties, material activities one may be affairs, one may be engaged in, but material attachments. So one may be doing material activities, but his consciousness is spiritual. That's not material. So that's the point, that we become detached from material, from material hooks, then we become attached to Krishna. And that is what is the goal of human life, or that is what human life is. So we have these default trenches. The Lord is explaining by repeated practice in knowledge and detachment. So there is, on one hand, we are gaining knowledge by which we are getting vision, by which the new trenches are being trust. On the second hand, that is detachment. Detachment acts like a plow. That detachment is breaking off the old trenches. So then detachment will require struggle. There is an aspect also in devotional service, you will always find these two things are always there. When we, so there is intake, like when we are in association of devotees, that's an intake. When we are attending spiritual aartis, it's intake. We're reading Bhagavad Gita, we're hearing a lecture, that's an intake. We're doing a service, that's an intake. So when we're doing intake, we're getting purified. The new trenches are getting done. And the second aspect which is there is in a devotee's life is struggle. So many times we don't have the strength to decide on a spiritual choice. The situations, the ambience, the world, the timing has put us in a crossroad. We have two options to choose from, and we know this one is Krishna, this one is not Krishna, Maya. One is Krishna, one is Maya. So we may not have the strength to do, to choose. So we may have to struggle a lot to somehow or the other choose Krishna, like that. So one may have to struggle a bit, struggle a good amount. So, but that is detachment. So if there is a mix of intake and no struggle, then we are in a healthy position. Our disposition is quite healthy. If there is a mix of struggle as well as a diet, that is intake. And lust is such a powerful enemy that no matter whatever happens, lust doesn't go away. Sometimes people say that, okay, in youth you can enjoy a lot, later you will get renounced. Sambhoga never leads to renunciation. Because technically speaking, sinful activity gets you two results. One is sinful reaction, which will come in the form of miseries and pain. We have to pay the price for it. Heavy. And second, sinful proclivity. And it comes with a packet of reinforcing sinful proclivity. So the sinful tendency gets a top up recharge. And therefore the sinful tendency will continue now with the greater bandwidth. Wi-Fi bandwidth, actually the greater GB, actually 3G, 4G, 5G. So it goes in that zone. And therefore person becomes more and more entangled. He'll become more and more miserable, but because of this proclivity, his sinful proclivity is enhanced. Therefore he becomes more and more entangled. That's the point. That's how strong lust is. Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, this lust is such a formidable enemy. The Lord explains that this madness to somehow or the other squeeze out enjoyment from material energy is so dangerous. It can wipe off jnana, vijnana, nashanam. It can wipe off jnana. All theoretical knowledge it can wipe off. It can wipe off vijnana also. That means all realized knowledge also it can wipe off. It is so powerful an enemy, and therefore one must safeguard himself. Struggle and intake. These are our two avenues on the basis of which we can fight this battle. So neither with experience of frustration and failures will one get realization, nor with age one will get realization. We have the story, the famous story about Akbar. When he was very much convinced that a person as he grows old, his lust will go away. And Birbal said, no, 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 it doesn't go away. It's very formidable. Arjun said, no, Akbar said, I don't believe. So Birbal said, I'll demonstrate. So after some time, Birbal asked Akbar to come to a home. It was an old man's home, old man, very old man. He was on deathbed. And Birbal came, the old man did not even open his eye. Akbar came, the old man didn't open his eye. Now Birbal told Akbar, ask your young unmarried daughter to come. So he asked, his daughter was unmarried, his daughter was young actually, and she came. She came in the room, the sound of the ornaments, the tinkling of the foot pile, or so the tinkling of the pile, so there was that sound. And the old man, even if Akbar had come, the Jahanpana, the Shahanshah had come, the old man didn't open his eyes. He was just lying. When this lady came, the old man, he opened his eyes, and he was looking, big eyes, big mouth, like that. Like that he was watching and gazing at her. So Birbal said, see, just see the point. Here is a man, he's on deathbed, he's about to die. But then the heart is as lusty as ever. The lust doesn't go away like that. Therefore, we have to work on this. It's an enemy, formidable enemy. And if you understand it's a formidable enemy, then we have to do all the more hard work to be able to curb it down. To be able to curb it down. So lust is very dangerous. One time Radha Shyam Prabhu was telling a story. It was a sad story. He said one time there was, this is a decade back or so. There was a very rich industrialist, one of the very reputed, famous, and rich people of Pune, and he was 62, and he used to go every day for jogging. So one day he was jogging on the jogging track. He found that one girl is also jogging. This girl was 24. The girl is also jogging. So anyhow, they were jogging nearby to each other, and then the old man sat down on the bench. The girl also came, sat down. Then they started talking. And they thought, okay, anyways, both are jogging, so they made, they what do you call it? They did a contract, And both of them became jogging partners. They used to jog every day together, and they would sit down and talk and all that. So this happened for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. After 4 months, this old man came home. I mean, he was staying in the home one day, but so after 4 months or so, when he came, at one point of time, he came to his home, and to make an announcement, he called all the family members, he called his wife, everyone, and he said that now it is his desire to give divorce to his wife. Oh, everyone was shocked. The ground below the feet was gone for the family members. So this old man, he had granddaughters which were about to be married. I mean, which were to be married. He had granddaughters. This was 62. So and then they probed him, they poked him, what happened, and all that. Then he started saying that no, he wants to marry that girl, that jogging partner. He's 24. Your granddaughter's age. And so it was such a shameful thing. Actually, the family members are not knowing what to do, who will counsel this person. And his business partners, they came to hear, they counseled him. They said, what are you doing? Your repute, everything. It is such a shame, poppy shame situation. You know, 10 years down the line, you will be on deathbed. That way. So, but he didn't listen. He was completely mad and obsessed. He married that young girl. And 2 3 months, actually, that young girl, no, she no, she ran away. She had usurped crores of rupees from him, and then she ran away. And for that reason only, she came close to him. So it is a lust, which is such a formidable enemy. There is no condition. If we are successful, we become more and more intoxicated and mad. That is how this material lust is. If we are a failure, then also we become more and more intoxicated. We become more frenzied. I know I have to get it somehow or the other. Like that. Somehow or the other. So one has to be very careful. Many times, uh, one has to be very careful. Many times in youth, always no, many times in youth, it appears that this romance, this lust, is something very thrilling, but it's very dangerous. It may appear to thrill, but actually it kills. It doesn't thrill, it kills. That's how strong it is. That's how strong it is. So I remember I was in Pune. I was working in HSBC software, and I used to stay near. There is one college, Srinagar College, there on top of a hill. So I used to stay there. We used to have a student center. Our devotee students used to stay, and I would stay there to help them out. You know, uh, yeah, to give them spiritual guidance, to give them guidance how to balance their studies and be materially, spiritually successful. So I would stay there actually. So one time I was taking a class in our temple hall. There were around 45 to 50 students for there, first year students. Yeah, they were in first year. Most of them were in first year. Around 50 students. So I was giving a class, and uh, yeah, the class was on the substance and shadow. The substance and shadow. What is substance? What is the substance of value in life, and what is shadow? What is an illusory goal? What is a uh, what is an eternal goal? What is a loophole? So I was giving a class on that. And I remember very prominently there was one boy, one fat boy actually, who was sitting right in front. And whenever I would look at him, he would make a very morose face, very morose face. And seeing him, I was wondering, Arey, what did I speak anything which hurted him? What happened to him? So it was it was distracting in that sense. And again, I would look at him, and he would make a very morose face, as if something has really pinched him or pierced him or he was hurt. So, but his expression was continuing, and I was wondering. I'm telling with nice logical explanation, stories, you know, research results. I'm giving so much of variety and juice in the presentation, and why this person is. But anyhow, I started. I got fed up looking at him. So what I used to do, I would bypass him. Whenever I knew he would be coming, when I would be turning, I would just bypass. Go over his head on that. I avoided looking at him because I was getting discouraged. So discouraging. He was sitting in the front making a face. Anyhow, the lecture finished. Different students were asking questions. And there was prasadam time. I was answering questions. The other students were taking prasad and night dinner prasad. So, so I saw this boy. He was sitting right on the opposite corner. And he was looking, with unblinking eyes, looking at me, staring at me. And I was getting frightened. What is this? And he was eating very slowly, but he was looking at me, very prominently. I remember. So anyhow, it was 11:30, 11:45 in the night, and everybody had gone. So I sat down for prasad, Uh, so yeah, so I sat down because I was talking to students. Everybody had gone. So then I thought, okay, I'll quickly take prasad and take rest. So I sat down for prasad. So when I sat down, this boy, still there, and nobody was there because other devotees, our devotees, seniors, they were actually, making arrangements. I mean, winding up, the arrangements, the kitchen, everything. So nobody was there in the hall. So then he came to me, and then my heart was thumping. What this person is going to say, actually. And as soon as he came, I said, sorry if my words, hit you. I didn't mean anything, like that. Don't take it personally. We're just discussing principles. Sometimes in our earnestness and sincerity, also, I mean, we may present something which we may not know, but it may be pinching to the other person because of the context, or because of the different context and situation the other person carries. Or sometimes the other person misunderstands in some different way because of his, context, the subtle context which he carries. So I was asking forgiveness, but this man, no, he was not at all moved. He was still very morose and frowning and all that. And then he uttered, "Prabhuji!" I got very frightened. I was not able to eat prasad. Sorry. What else I can do? And then he was. It seems that he was quite desperate. Prabhuji, Prabhuji. No, he was like. I said, okay, can I help you in some way? I mean, I'm sorry, but if something has hurt you, but can I help you in some way? He said, I'm in a very serious problem. I said, problem? I said, okay, there may not be problem with me. That means okay. That was little encouraging. I mean, I said, okay, what is the problem? I'll help you. Help you. Don't worry. So then he just started saying that, my life is a waste. He started crying. He was crying. Actually, literally crying tears. I said, my life is a waste. And I was wondering what happened. It's just first year, first semester. No result has also not come. So CGPA nobody knows, like that. Now why is he crying? And I would, no, I would pat on his back, and and I would pat on his back again. He would get some energy. He would start crying again. Oh, my life is a waste. I said, I was telling in my heart, "Arey, speak something more." Understood that it is a waste. What kind of waste it is? Can it be recycled? We'll see something. Tell something at least. Uh, so he was not speaking. Then I thought, okay, he'll not speak like this. What to do? Not like that. And I told devotees, there was that sweet, fruit custard prasad which was there. It was having mango and apple and banana. I told him, give him one full glass. So our devotee already had taken dinner prasad, but then because he's not speaking, what to do? Some way. So devotees gave that glass of custard prasad. He took it. That he was that he was taking regularly. Then nah. So after taking two servings, one time, two times, like that, then he started speaking. Oh, very great difficulty. He started speaking. It took so much prasad for him to speak out, like that. And then he started speaking. Then he said, Prabhuji, in my section there are 80 students. Oh, 80 boys, he said. 80 boys. There are 80 boys. I said, that's okay. In KGP we have many more. So, I mean, so he said, Prabhuji, the point is that he said, Prabhuji, you see the point. He said, the point is that I said, no problem. I mean, that's okay. I mean, nothing to be fearful about. And I also went at IIT. I saw that students are looking more bright than me and all that. But I was studying, and I landed up with 9.4 CG. Then I understood that it's okay. If you work hard. Even if somebody is looking bright and all. So I was giving answers. But he said, no, that is not the point. I said, okay, what is the point? Okay. So he said, the point is that, Prabhuji, each one of the 79 of them have a girlfriend. Only I am not having a girlfriend. My life is a waste. So when I heard that, actually, so I just wanted to laugh and laugh and laugh. So, and it was really very difficult for me to, control myself actually. So it was really very difficult actually. So, but fortunately, actually, my prasad plate was not over because I was taking prasad. So to control myself, I also took some sweet prasad. Hold my mouth. So that way. So he said, then I was chewing and then I was just, trying to compose myself before I, give out some expression. So after some time, then uh, I told him very good, you know. I told him very good. And his reply came, Prabhuji. So it was like, it was like very frightening. So it was very frightening. And so I said, no, no, no. You see, the point is, there is logic. There are a lot of points which I can say. Just hold on, just listen. So I said, very good. But the first thing is very economical. You don't have a girlfriend so economical. You can save a lot of money, you can save a lot of time, you can save a lot of mental energy, you can save a lot of focus, you can get better results, you can get a better job. And then I started telling him. And then after telling, some of these are some statistical reasons which we observe. I mean, statistical, figures which we observe. But then I started telling him about Bhagavad Gita and how, the Lord explains that this lust is very dangerous. Yeah, sure enough, Vedas, the Shastras are talking about the marriage. The Shastras are allowing the marriage as a yajna, as with the purpose to please Lord Vishnu. With the purpose of so so. But then there is a time, there is a time to marry, like that. And that is, after 3-4 years or 5 years being reinstated in a job and having some footing, standing, and all that. So see, this is not your age at all. So I was trying to explain how lust is very dangerous. If you do not control, it just burns everything. It just burns everything. Very dangerous. Then I told, actually, I had seen in my school days, our neighbor actually, our neighbor, there one bhaiya used to stay. He used to look very dashing, very dashing, and he had good body and all that. He had what bicep, tricep, and all that. So many pegs are there. Like that, he had that body, and he was taller than me, and he was like, he used to look very attractive and all that. So, so I don't know. He used to keep roaming around with girlfriends and all that. All of a sudden, one day we heard he committed suicide. I don't know why. I mean, the prominent reason which came up was like maybe some issue, some girlfriend, or he committed suicide. So I told him all these points. He was not listening. I could see in his eyes that things were not going inside. And I could see that because he was maintaining that kind of a hook, that kind of a hook, he was not evolving to become a serious devotee. He was not at all evolving. So he started becoming irregular. Then he became regularly irregular. Previously he was regular. Then he became irregularly regular. Then he became regularly irregular. And then he became once in a blue moon. That kind of thing. Anyhow, he was in first year. So the year next, actually, I got some more different services. So I was going a bit less to Srinagar, and I was focused on more services in our temples. I had more, so I was going a bit less to Srinagar. So I remember this is 3 years later, and we had a very beautiful. So we had a very beautiful Rath Yatra festival in Bombay. No? There was one big pandal, a big ground which was taken uh, near Chowpatty. That Chowpatty, Giregaon Chowpatty beach. So near that there is a very big ground, pandal ground actually there. The Rath Yatra was there. So I had gone there actually. And there was some problem. My mobile was not working. Exactly that time. Means that window of 5 6 days period or something. So I had gone. The Rath Yatra was so amazing. We were all dancing Jai Jagannath and Jagannath Swami, and so it was very amazing actually. So I stayed that whole day in Bombay. The next day I came. When I came actually at our temple information counter, the devotee was there. He told me that he called me. He said there was one boy. He was looking out for you. I said, oh really? He said yes. He was seriously looking out for you, and uh, this boy has given a chit, name, number, and all that. So he had given me. So he gave me the chit. So he gave me that chit. Then I saw the name actually. It took me some time to recall who is this boy. It was Rahul. So I was wondering who is this Rahul. Then I understood, oh, is that Rahul, that girlfriend fellow? No? That first year girlfriend, And so now he was in final year actually. And this was last semester. This was the first half of the semester. I mean, the first half of the year, the last semester. And yeah, it was around April, I think. And Pune exams happen May, May and May and June is the time for exams. I believe it was April, May, and I got that number actually. I called that number. The number was coming, switch off. So couldn't talk. Anyhow, I was passing. I was wondering why. Maybe this person would have visited the temple. Anyhow, I was moving on to my office, and uh, I was moving on, and then I saw one of our very senior devotees, Ramanand Prabhu. So he came from the other side, and he saw me. He said, "Are please come here." I said, "Okay, yes." And then he told me, "Are you used to go to this college for preaching, right, Srinagar?" And I said, "Oh yes, I used to go. Yeah." I mean, he said, "Are there is a news about Srinagar." I said, "Really?" And uh, and then he said actually that one boy from Srinagar committed suicide, and he showed me the newspaper, the newspaper headlines, that one SIT Srinagar final year, then yesterday night midnight, I mean previous day night midnight, he jumped down from the 10th story of the Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital. Uh, he jumped down from the 10th story of the Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital and committed suicide. This is what I heard, and then I had the newspaper, in front of me. I mean, at a distance, and I had a chit, and I had a newspaper, and I had so many. I had all these facts, and these facts were getting jumbled up and are getting merged. But I didn't want it to do that. I didn't want it. My I remember actually I was getting, my body had started shivering. Actually, my body had started trembling actually, and I was feeling so heavy at that point. Actually, I did not want to make any correlation whatsoever, but these facts were actually bombarding from all sides, this side, that side, and I had to read that newspaper. And that newspaper had the same name which was there on the chit, at Rahul, and he had jumped as a final year student, and he had jumped from 10th story of Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital. And now everything was clear to me what had happened the last day. And this Rahul might have been in a very desperate situation. And in that desperate situation, he had come all the way to the temple. That was around 15 kilometers from Srinagar. He had come to the temple and he wanted to meet me, and he was searching frantically and he didn't find. And then he was there with his own desperation. Uh, and by the night, it would have been beyond his control. Therefore, he resolved. So there were tears coming from my eyes, actually. And I was wondering that had I been there yesterday, this boy's life would have been saved, actually. And I was crying. I went to the temple hall. I was praying to the deities. I was chanting. Who killed Rahul? The whole picture was very crystal clear in front of my eyes. Out there in first year, he had that desire, That's how lust takes shape in a person's heart. He had that desire that, okay, let me, a girlfriend is required in life. And despite our advice and appeal and humble, uh, guidelines or a request plea, he didn't, he didn't stop. And the next 2 years, 2.5 years, he would have gone head on with those kind of drives. And what is the result? The result is before passing out, he passed out. That is where we're making the point. Lust may appear to be thrilling, but it kills. It thrills, but it kills actually. So it is not, it is literally true, and I have seen it, I have experienced with my own eyes, the kind of emotions I had gone through in that situation. What good is all this madness for? And that's how we can understand. And therefore, sense control is what can give us footing, tangibility, substantiability in this world. Not this madness, not this wildfire of lust, the wildfire of material attachments. So when I had come to KGP in first year, seeing the fellow batchmates was a very discouraging experience. Many of them, because I would say many of them would be killing time. Now, killing time is fine in one sense. I mean, still fine, but many of them will be actually fluffing up many negative things, animalistic things, lusty things, and so on. They would speak abusive words. Sometimes it would be very difficult to actually sit among some people because the kind of discussions would start. And I was more or less an introvert kind of person. I would not much uh, uh, but then I could very well understand that this is not what life is meant to be. And I would try to evade or dodge myself from any such situations like this. But people, their talks would be centered around girls, or in a girls' hostel, or their talks would be centered around some cheap, vulgar words and some cheap commentaries on movies, so on. That's how their talks would be. Or they would be making fun of professors. This is how their talks would be. And so I very well remember actually that this was a time, I believe in the second semester, there are these elections, hall elections, secretary elections, second semester, first semester, first, second semester, though, secretary elections, actually. And first years can also sit for elections. So I remember in our wing, there was, second semester, correct. So on our same floor, we used to stay in HJB, Homide Baba, like that. There were 550 was the intake, KGP. Now it is huge, 1500 is the intake, right? Undergraduate. 550 was the intake those days. So HJB and JCB were the first year halls those days. So there was one boy, his name was Raviraj, exploration geophysics, 01EX, 3015, Raviraj. Exploration geophysics. Yeah. He was in exploration geophysics, yes. And he was contesting for the elections of entertainment secretary. and he won with overwhelming victory actually. So ever since he won, actually, in my next to my wing, actually, there was the hall room, the common hall room, and I would see that every Sunday they would play a movie, and the boys were mad. Boys were mad. You see, laptops were not very much prominent those days. This is 2001. So laptops were not at all there in the in the world or in the market, in the commonplace market. Desktops were there, but very few had taken desktops. So, and smartphones, no question of smartphones. no, there were even mobile phones were a rare thing, those days in 2001. Uh, So even mobile phones were there, STD booths were there, intercom was there. They would on mic announce, that okay, your parents' phone has come, please come at the hall reception, and we would go and attend. Those kind of days were there. So then this movie would be played on Sundays, and I would see that actually Janta would madly rush in, and people would be hanging on the windows, and they would be somehow or the other, or some of them would be doing some gymnastics, with one leg. No, like no, the corridor wall is there, no. One leg on the corridor wall, another leg somehow or the other getting a glimpse. It would be jam packed. Jam packed means nobody can get in, nobody can get out. That kind of situation. I was wondering. I never much bothered about what's happening, but I was just wonder what is this, Uh, Anyhow, in the Toad, there used to be, this Toad or that SN. That SN Bose Auditorium, I think there used to be the weekly movie used to be there anyways, but I don't know why people are excited about this. Oh, towards the end of the year, I got to know what was the case. So this Raviraj used to roam around like a big hero, and people, whenever he would roam around, people would be, as if, admiring him, for his heroic qualities and all. I never dug into what was happening because I was too much absorbed in, I was wanting to focus on making a branch change and getting some good grades and, so, and I got introduced to Krishna consciousness in the second semester. So life was absorbing and busy for me, so I never looked into that. But towards the end of the year, I got to understand what is the whole story. So the story was that this Ravi Raj, so his campaign agenda was that he had promised that if he gets selected as an entertainment secretary, he would play pornographic movies in the common hall room, and therefore he got overwhelming victory. Very unfortunate, but that's how it was. And as soon as he got victory, he fulfilled that promise. So every Sunday, that kind of gathering, a pornographic movie would be played in the AJB IIT Kharagpur Common Hall room. And this was known to everybody, the warden, the dean, the girls' hostel, the girls. And this Ravi Raj would be moving like a big hero in the campus. And now he was an icon in the campus because he did something daring and bold. Be daring, be bold. So people used to feel, kya, stud aadmi hai. No. Now, stud is a short form for studious, but anyways, no, uh, no, the people would be speaking that okay, such a bold fellow, such a daring fellow, and all that. But anyhow, people used to, because of his activities, he was given another name actually. People would call him as Pondi Raj, from pornography, the Pondi Raj, like that. So I very much remember, people would call him as Pondi Raj. Anyhow, we went into second year. I went into computer science and made a branch change from mechanical to computer science, and then computer science goes quite hectic, quite absorbed, and we got an opportunity to become more intense in spiritual life. So spiritual life was on the high fly, and computer science was on the fly. So I never, and I had understood that this area was very dirty and shabby area. It was very disgusting when I had heard that whole story. I never actually ever talked to Ravi Raj as well. So I was in a 4-year program. I was not in a dual degree program. But exploration geophysics is a 5-year dual degree program. So I remember I was sitting in, I was sitting in HSBC office, and So I was working. So generally, when I would work in the company, I at this by this time I had a mobile. The parents had given a mobile because I was in a different city and all that. So they had purchased a mobile for me. So smartphone. I mean, not smartphone. Sorry, smartphone. Sorry, smartphone. Uh, semi-smartphone. Sort of, you can say the button. So yeah, with the button phone. So anyhow, that was there, and then I would never actually, or I would not even open emails or something because. But actually, I was when I was working, all of a sudden I was thinking of a problem statement. I was thinking where the program is stuck up, and I happened to look at the right, and there is my colleague, the next, the neighboring colleague, he had a newspaper kept in front, just next to him, and I could see a newspaper headlines. There were some words which were written because of which I couldn't control. I had to pick up that newspaper. So the words were IIT Kharagpur. I saw something like IIT Kharagpur written. I picked up the newspaper, and what I saw, the headlines had one more familiar word: Ravi Raj, exploration geophysics, final year, dual degree student. So IIT Kharagpur, Ravi Raj, and it was an alarming news. The news was that so Ravi Raj was being chased by the Delhi police for many days and weeks, and finally the Delhi police had caught him somewhere in India. I forgot the name of the place. Somewhere in South India they had caught him, and he was being taken to the Delhi High Court. He was imprisoned and he was being taken to the Delhi High Court. The case was that he was selling pornographic videos online. He was doing illegal trading and selling of, making and selling pornographic videos online. And the Delhi police had hunted him down and tracked him, and now he was behind the bars. And the case was going on. So he had to be summoned in the High Court, the Delhi High Court or something like that. And then there was a statement of the director of IIT Kharagpur. I think it was Mr. Dr. Hari Ram Tiwari, I believe. Those days, his statement was there. I'd be very sorry. It's very unfortunate that person, that a student can behave in this way. And then the director had said that his registration and seat in IIT stands cancelled, and whatever police decides, the court decides for him, like that. So I don't know what was, I mean, the actual result or the series of results which happened after that, but definitely it would not have been something great or wonderful. It would have been very disastrous. Already this was such a disastrous, such an alarming and horrifying result. Very unfortunate. And I was relating and I was remembering actually that people, this man, he used to consider himself very bold. He's dashing, he's bold, he's different, he's out of the box, he's daring. And sometimes many such people like that, they would consider some other simple students who would be studious, who would be, they would be considering the Dhabu fellows, like that. Be daring, be bold, be like, a macho man like that. But what does all this kind of, all these drives, the macho man kind of drive and all that, it led Ravi Raj uh, to the imprisonment and his graduation also. And within a few months, he was passing out. Do you imagine? So the point is, it does not remain. It was not just okay, yeah. So the point is that it started with okay, one naughty move of okay, watching a pornographic movie, and then assembling and arranging for others, and then we went on and on, went on and on. It destroyed, spoiled his life, ruined his career, ruined his life. So therefore, we need to control our senses. Sense control is one of the prime features or a prime necessity for a successful and meaningful human life. conditionings have to be treated strongly. So to overcome the bad habits or negative habits, Radheshyam Prabhu explains one has to follow the triple S formula. The first S stands for starve the bad habits. Do not succumb to bad habits. Starve the bad habits. That means abstain from alluring objects, bad people, bad objects. Starve. Starve. That's the first point. The second S is that starvation is going to work if we parallelly supplement good habits. We starve the bad, but we feed the good. We should feed good habits. Good habits. Then one can starve bad habits. Then one will get the strength to starve bad habits. So therefore, one should know. So one should abstain from bad habits. Now one may say, okay, how one can do it? It is very difficult because there is a lot of force, as as Arjuna was asking in third chapter. That tendency, that proclivity comes with a great force. How does one abstain? So one can abstain by so we get the strength to abstain by sustenance, by sustaining good habits, by feeding the good habits. So on the strength of the good, we can refrain from the bad. So therefore, to change bad habits, one should change association. One should associate with good people, godly persons, saintly persons. No? One should associate with objects in the mode of goodness. One should be ready for self-correction. One should be ready. One should evaluate his moves, introspect what is take inventory of one's own mind. What kind of thoughts are going on? What kind of desires are going on the heart time to time? So one should supplement with good habits. That's the sustenance formula. And the third is stay away from tempting environment. So even if one has gone control, if one goes into a negative environment, he won't be able to sustain. Like somebody is suppose addict, smoking addict. Some or the other is given up smoking. Now if he says no, I will just go and meet my friends, my smoker friends. I will not smoke. I'll just be there for some time and come back. Impossible, no? As soon as you go in that association of vicious vices, where vices are prominent, as soon as one goes into that kind of association, immediately one becomes weak. Immediately one becomes tempted. So one should stay away from tempting situations, the tempting environment, tempting association. That's a triple S formula which one should apply. So starvation will demolish the negative trenches and supplement the positive spiritual supplement will dig new trenches, the positive trenches which will take one towards Krishna, which will take one towards liberation, will take one towards happiness, towards meaning, towards meaning, yes, towards sustaining strength, satisfaction, happiness, long-lasting, everlasting happiness. So that is how one should, that's how one should, so one should take it as an agenda, not to give in to the conditionings, but rather to not to give in to his conditionings, but rather to overcome his conditioning. Rather to overcome. So this is the second C, the conditionings. The third C is cutthroat competition. Cutthroat competition. So much competition, everyone's throat get cut off. So modern day mankind takes pride in saying that, okay, our speed is very fast. Everyone is in the rat race. Oh, everyone is running. Everyone is running. there is one simple characteristic of a rat race. You know what? The characteristic is that in a rat race, whether one is first, whether one is second, or one is 10th, or one is the last, everyone still remains a rat. It's a rat race. So that means it doesn't matter whether one is first or last, because one still remains a rat. One still remains a rat actually. And that's exactly what this material world is. The success in this material world, the competition in this material world is all, at best, it offers us some titillations. And actually these titillations are the worst enemies of the living entity. Because titillation increases the expectation, and expectation increases the madness. Finished. So the experience remains for some time. Other times it's just the expectation. That's the point. That's the point. Cutthroat competition. So if we analyze human life, animal life, we will see that there is struggle for existence for everybody in this world. Is it not? Struggle for existence. For basic mere existence, one has to struggle so much. That's the nature of this world. That's the nature of this world. So we can see animals, how much they have to work hard in such dangerous circumstances to be able to solve the basic necessities of food and shelter and so on. Like say for example, have you seen birds? When the birds are pecking on grains, the sparrow is picking up grains, or a pigeon is picking up grains. How do they eat? They don't eat peacefully, that okay, let us relax, in an AC room, watch a television, like that, sip a cocktail, mocktail, eat a starter, with a Coca-Cola, No, not like that. It's hard struggle. So you can see the sparrow, or you can see the pigeon or the parrot, picking up the grain. So they'll be very much frightened, very fearful, and we're looking here, looking there, looking here, looking there, up, down, looking here, let's pick up a grain. Immediately look here, look there, pick up a grain. Immediately look here, look there, pick up a grain. What is he looking here and there for? He's not wondering. He's not fearful about that somebody else will come and take his grains. No, that is not the point. But the bird is afraid that while it is picking the grain, some predator should not come and hit him on the neck from behind and kill him. He's very careful. So this goes to show that in animal life, in one sense, the basic necessities itself are supplied in a very precarious way. Very precarious way. At least when we take food, we are not looking here and there. Somebody will come and stab us with a knife from behind. I mean, at least we don't have that fear when we are eating food. Yeah, other places there is struggle, there is problems. That is all fine, but not to this extent. Is it not? So we can see in this way the entire animal kingdom. An animal may be out for food, but then may become the prey of some another fellow, a predator. So this speaks about that the nature of this world is that when it comes to material necessity, or when it comes to material thing, there is always going to be a struggle. There is always going to be competition, struggle. The throat will get cut. No person will get cut, throat competition. Alas. That's always going to be there actually. Therefore, the Shastras are telling the strategy. Now it's okay, then what should one do? जीने के लिए क्या करना है? The Shastras are giving the solution. जीने के लिए material necessities को minimize कीजिए. Simplify your life. If you have a simple living, you can have high thinking. Simplify your life. Your material necessities को कम कीजिए, because जितना ज्यादा material need, नीड ग्रीड सिनोनिमस हो गया आजकल. People can justify everything as a need. One time one gentleman was telling, देखिए भाई साहब, है ना, he was telling me, देखिए आदमी को पास बहुत ज्यादा, है ना, बहुत ज्यादा पैसे के पीछे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, लेकिन कम से कम, है ना, हाँ, एक घर ना तो पूना शहर में होना चाहिए. तो अच्छा, एक घर पूना शहर में होना चाहिए, ठीक है, चलो एक घर ले लो पूना शहर में. बोलते नहीं नहीं, एक घर ना थोड़ा, ना, वो तो शहर है, सिटी लाइफ, पोल्यूशन, ये वो वगैरह, थोड़ा चिल होने के लिए, कूल होने के लिए, ना, एक घर थोड़ा महाबलेश्वर में भी होना चाहिए, हिल स्टेशन में. तो अच्छा, एक घर महाबलेश्वर में भी होना चाहिए, है ना, तो 5 दिन पूना में रहेंगे, एक घर, ना, और उसके बाद महाबलेश्वर में रहेंगे, ना, अमंग द वाटरफॉल्स, है ना, वो वाटरफॉल के बीच में, पहाड़ के बीच में, इधर उधर, ना, है ना, या फिर लवासा में होना चाहिए. तो मैंने सेड ओके, है ना, इसका नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या होगा, लोग बोलेंगे ठीक है इतना तो है, लेकिन एक घर लंदन में भी होना चाहिए, और फिर एक घर हवाई आइलैंड में भी होना चाहिए. There's no end to that. It's just nuts. It's just, so there is not much difference. The person, now materialistic oriented person, he loses track of what is need and what is greed. Everything appears need for him. तो प्रॉब्लम क्या है नीड ग्रीड को फ्यूज करने में? द प्रॉब्लम इज, वो नीड ग्रीड का जब फ्यूजन हो जाता है, कोई डिमार्केशन नहीं है, तो प्रॉब्लम क्या है? प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जितना ज्यादा मटेरियल ना परव्यू या डोमेन हम बढ़ाएंगे, that much we have to struggle, that much we have to, get slaughtered or butchered by the cutthroat competition. That much more difficult and agonizing life is going to become. That's a problem. That's a problem. So that is a problem. So we see sometimes that people, to show off for the sake of a status quo, sometimes, they purchase hi-fi things with huge money. Nowadays you can do that, because you have credit card, you have EMI loans facility and all that. But then after that, the status quo, but to maintain that status quo, now he has to, work double. Instead of 8 hours, he has to work now 16 hours. And to pay the EMI, to pay the interest of the loan and to repay the loan. For the next 20-25 years, the person is hooked. Next 20-25 years, the person is hooked. What is the use? Just like I many times give the example, I might have given this example to you before also. But in Calcutta, actually, just in front of our building is 30-story building, 20, 22, 23-story building, called as Ideal Exotica. It's not very ideal. Ideal is our temple hall where Lord Goshan is there. But anyway, its name is Ideal. So that 22-story building, one flat there, used to. I saw the advertisement 3 years back. It was costing 2.5 crores, 1,000 square feet flat. Now it must be more than that. 2.5 crores. And that time itself, 3 years back, I had seen actually that just 7 minutes walk from this place. In maybe a little, smaller lane, car can go in that lane, a 10 feet, 12 feet lane actually. There is a flat, 1,000 square feet, 55 lakhs. Here it is 2.5 crores. So people feel okay, 23-story building, gym is there inside, running track is there inside, and park is there inside the building only, some higher floor. Park is also there, all artificial. So person will think, oh, it's such a posh building, let me take a flat. But now to pay the EMI, the person will become flat. It is not. 25 years of home loan paying. So what is the need for taking a 2.5 crore flat? Very simple, no? Just not. What is the need? Now, actually, for our school, for our tribal children's school, we are searching a land in Calcutta. So Calcutta is such a city. The place where we are staying, the New Alipur, that is the one of the most posh localities in Calcutta. Here, the land rate is for one kata. One kata is 720 square feet approximately. So 720 square feet, the cost is 2.5 crores. 2.5 crores. 2 to 2.5 crores. That's the cost. So if we go 20 kilometers from this point, in various directions, the cost becomes 2 lakh per kata. 1.5 lakh per kata, like that. Just 20 kilometers, from this point. So what is 2.5 crores and what is 20 lakhs? Is it not? No, what is 2 lakhs? Good enough. So, but then one gets intoxicated by the status quo. He takes 1 crore, 1.5 crore, 2.5 crores, that range of land and makes a bungalow out of it. Naturally, is going to be excessively miserable because now he has to pay back the money. So the loan is easy to take, but it's not at all easy to digest. It causes a lot of indigestion. Therefore, don't take. That's the point. Cutthroat competition becomes even more enhanced when the more materially oriented we become, the more this cutthroat competition grasps us. It is a cutthroat competition which creates the instability in our lives. It does not allow us to give footing. It gives so much of mental pressure that we cannot think of anything else. Therefore, you will see practically the whole world is right now racked with depression. Because if people are becoming so materially oriented, therefore this cutthroat competition, this competitive drive is so prominent. Everybody's throat is getting cut off. So one has to safeguard himself, understanding that material chase is not the goal of human life. Human life is a spiritual race. Spirituality is the golden race, and material affairs is a shabby face, or the material world is a shabby face. So life is a spiritual race. Life is a spiritual race. And therefore, one should not land up into this kind of illusory competition, the cutthroat competition. The cutthroat competition. So Krishna consciousness is very beautiful. Why? Because Krishna consciousness is very, very beautiful. Because when it comes to Krishna consciousness, we don't have to achieve anything. We just have to absorb ourselves. Krishna understands and accepts the state of our heart. And whatever being the state of our heart, if we just try with whatever capacity we have to serve Krishna, Krishna becomes happily pleased. He's bhavagrahi. Krishna is not phalagrahi. He's bhavagrahi. He eats or he accepts our mood. He accepts our mood. He's bhavagrahi. And therefore Krishna consciousness is so amazing. And that's why Krishna consciousness is the pathway of liberation out of the shackles of this cutthroat competition. So these are the 3 C's which one should get out of: endeavor, struggle, practice, and the intake with knowledge and association, and the practice with determination and detachment. Practice Krishna consciousness with detachment from material affairs or detachment from material undertakings. We will stop here. So are there any questions? Okay, so I thank you all very much for your enthusiastic participation in our Sunday program. So we are very much nearing our National Youth Convention, Utkarsha, which many of you might have come to know and started registering. The Utkarsha will start from next week. So however, Utkarsha has some prerequisite topics which should be covered and should be knowing about that. So to arrange for that, We will have 1 or 2 extra classes in the weekdays. Anyways, I have heard that your holidays have also started. So very soon we'll start. I believe Monday, tomorrow, day after, we'll also start with software training workshop for all of you, so that you can get the full experience of a spiritual intensity along with an intense and powerful material training, that is your studies training. And then you can see that how one can be, you can experience and learn and train yourself in practice on how one can balance both of them, and keep both of them on the top gear. So both of them on top gear, material undertaking as well as the spiritual undertaking. So uh, so that's coming up. So STWs and Utkarshan coming up for all of you. Yeah, STW, VTW, Vaishnav Training Workshop, and Utkarshan, all of you. So to cover some pre-requisite topics, we will meet. Most likely, we'll meet Tuesday evening. We'll let you know exact time. Thank you. Hare Krishna.